to this basic restorative yoga session that we're going to be doing tonight. We meet every Monday night at 6:30 right here on the Neva Lomason Library page. My name is Angie Pace, in case you've not practiced with me before. And this is our library class that we've been doing for years. We are just doing it online until we can hopefully soon meet again in the library and take this class back up in person. So tonight we are going to do a mix of basic yoga. So we'll do some seated warm-up stuff, and then we'll do a little brief standing series to kind of bring a little bit of heat into the practice. We'll keep it fairly basic. And then toward the end of our session, we'll wind down with a restorative little mini series. And so with that, we will require several props tonight. One will be a strap, and you can just sort of set that off to the side for now. Another will be a bolster. And if you do not have one of these bolsters at your disposal, then you can always take a few blankets and lay them flat and then sort of roll them up into a blanket roll that would mimic this size. Just get creative if you don't have one, but if you don't have one, they are worth investing in because you can do just some wonderful heart openers and twists and stuff that we'll be doing at the end of our session today. So this is a great way to ease into your week, and I'm glad that you could join me. Namaste. And so let's begin by just sitting up nice and tall, just taking about a minute to get grounded. So for some of us, that's going to be closing the eyes. For others, we might keep the eyes open and just send the gaze down the tip of the nose toward the ground. And just feel the sits bones rooting you down into the mat, and you're extending then upward through the midline of the body, reaching up through the crown of the head toward the ceiling above you. On your next in-breath, lift your shoulders up toward your ears and then roll them back down. Let them slide down your back body. Maybe even turn the palms of the hands to face them upright. It'll relax the shoulders even more. So this might be the first time you've sat down all day, that you've had a moment to be still and start reflecting. And so just really allow yourself this shift in gears, moving into this more calm mind, this more present mind, and just see if you can sort of stick with this mindset throughout this practice, even as we get more active, which is going to happen in just a few more breaths here. Maybe see if an intention comes up for you for tonight's practice. It could just be to start the week off on a positive note. Maybe it's an intention that has a little more deeper meaning, a little more personal meaning for you. Take some time to set that for this session. And then take a big breath in. As the breath flows out, take the chin to the chest. Stay upright. Try not to round through the back body. And then inhale, roll your head to the left side. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the right. And then back to center, just gently kind of stretching through the neck as we moved from side to center and then the other side, using your rhythm of breath. We're just going to visit each side one more time. Again, still sitting up nice and tall, especially when the chin tucks. It's really tempting to round to the back body, but see if you can keep from doing that. Tucking your chin back towards your chest. Inhale, lift the head back up to its neutral positioning. And then we're just going to change the crossing of the legs now. So whichever one was in front, just cross it out with the other. And get your foundation in that seat. And then we're just going to start to roll the shoulders back a few times. And then maybe roll forward a few times. Good. And then lift the shoulders up and shrug them down. 2 more times, lift up, shrug down. 1 more time, lift up, and shrugging down. Now from here, we're going to take our time coming onto the hands and the knees. So just transitioning. If you do have wrist issues, because we're going to come into downward facing dog, and then from there, we're going to sort of hover the knees close to the ground. And so if you have wrist issues, then you're going to want to practice it more of that dolphin positioning on the forearms instead. All right, so hands and knees. And at first, we're just going to come into a really gentle downward facing dog. So curl the toes under, send the hips up. And at first, maybe just lift your heels and then lower back down, pulling the navel in the whole time. Inhale, lifting the heels. Exhale, lower down. 1 more time. And lower the heels, lower the knees, and press back into this first child's pose, our first balasana, resting forehead on the ground. Some of us like to rest the forehead on stacked fists. If you have high blood pressure, this is a good idea for you to modify in this way and have a little more height for the head. 2 more breaths here. Knowing, as always, that you can come into child's pose and rest whenever you need it. Rejoin what we're doing when you're ready. Inhale, hands and knees. And so here's where, like I said, if you have wrist issues, you're going to want to practice this from dolphin positioning with the forearms on the ground. But otherwise, inhale. And then as you exhale, lift your hips up. Big breath in. As the breath flows out, lowering the knees, hugging the navel in, and hover the knees close to the ground. Inhale, extend, reach up, and press back. And then exhale, start to lower those knees again. Hover, 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 pull the navel in. Inhale, extend the legs, and rest for just a second. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, hover those knees. Pull the navel in. Big breath in. Really waking up that core. Exhale, lower the knees. Press the hips back into child's pose. Remember, your knees can be quite wide, or you can keep your knees hip width. That's entirely up to you. On your next in-breath, slowly press back up to the hands and the knees. And make sure the heels of the hands are under the shoulders. The knees, if you were to take them out wide for that child's pose, are now back in positioning, hip level, hip width rather. And we're going to come into our Chakravakasana pulses here. So we inhale into the dog tilt, let the navel drop, let the sits bones and the crown of the head. And then we exhale, pull the navel in, rounding through your spine, tucking your chin, toes facing straight back behind you. Fingers spread wide. Inhale again, pressing through the fingers, pressing through the thumb pads. Exhale, and rounding, cat tilt. Let's do that just twice more. Inhale, extending, and only a slight lift through the crown and the sits bones, and then exhale, rounding. 1 more time. Inhale. Coming into your cow pose. And coming back to that neutral positioning, curl the toes again. Downward facing dog or dolphin for those of you with wrist issues. To modify here, we're going to start to walk the feet up toward the top of the mat so that we end up in a forward fold. Okay, you can see my knees are a little bent here, and that's just to bring some ease into my lower back. Little by little, you might be able to extend the legs a bit more. We're going to come into a few half forward fold pulses here. So really activating through the core, rooting down through all four corners of each foot. As you inhale, come up partway, flatten the back, pull the navel in, and then as you exhale, fold. And we'll do that again. Inhale, coming up partway, flat back. You could just lift up onto the fingertips to come up halfway, if that's within your range of flexibility. Exhale into your fold. Again, let the crown of the head release toward the ground one more time. Inhale, flat back. Pull the navel in. Exhale into your fold. And then from here, slowly start to roll your way up to standing. And then coming to the top of your mat. Let me fix my camera really quickly here. A little bit higher. So at the top of the mat, rooting down again through all four corners of each foot. And the palms of the hands come together at the chest. And then you can either stand with the feet in a closed mountain. I'm going to turn my lights up just a little bit. Or you can have your feet hip width apart, okay? So open mountain, hip width, closed mountain, inner edges of the feet in toward one another. We're going to just start with some half salutes here. And so I didn't say it at the beginning with blocks, but here's where a block does come in handy. Even if you're pretty flexible through the hamstrings, you can touch the ground. I still like doing this with a block because then it just gives us so much more space when we start moving into the twist. So it's up to you. Have one handy if you'd like, just kind of there in the front of your mat. And then hands at the heart. Inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale, and just pull down the midline of the body as you fold. Inhale up part way. Flatten your back, pull the navel in just like we were doing before. Exhale and fold. Grab your block. If you are in a closed mountain, go ahead and come into an open mountain, feet are hip width apart. Place your block in front of your left foot first, and then place your left hand on top of that block. Now you could just have your hand on the ground in front of the foot. Bend the left knee. Right leg is extended. Inhale, and then as we exhale, we just twist toward the right side. Breathing deeply here. One more breath. And then as we exhale, we just fold back to center. Take the block, put it in front of the right foot now, or just put your hand down in front of the right foot on the mat, bend the right knee, inhale. And as we exhale, we twist now toward this left side. Big breath in. As the breath flows out, let that arm come back down. You can kind of move the block out of the way if you were using it. Inhale, slight bend to the knees. Reach the arms out wide, coming up. Exhale, let the hands rest at the chest. So just a nice twisting half salute. We're going to come into a full salute now. And so for this first full salute, we're going to do two. So for the first one, we're going to do several holds through each of the poses. And then the second one will be more fluid. We'll just kind of move with the breath. So hands at the chest, inhale, reaching out and up. Looking up as the palms touch. Exhale, pulling through that midline and fold. Inhale up part way, flatten the back. Exhale into the fold. Hands to the mat, either step, or you can hop the feet back. And we hang out in our plank for 3 breaths here. And one more breath. And then lower the knees. Lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, cobra. And then we're going to hang out here, cobra, for those 3 breaths. 2. And one more. Exhale and lower. Inhale, hands and knees, curl the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. And we're going to hang out in down dog for a few breaths as well. From downward facing dog, either hop or you could step the feet to the top of the mat, coming up partway flat back, inhale, exhale, and fold. Hanging out here in this forward fold for 2 more breaths. And then inhale, sweep the arms out wide, coming up, exhale, hands going to rest at the chest. We're going to do that again, a little more fluid this time. Inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale, folding, just moving with the breath. Inhale, partway flat back. Exhale, folding, stepping or hopping into plank. Inhale, shifting forward. Exhale, either lower the knees like we did before, or full chaturanga. Inhale, cobra like we did before, or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Lifting the sits bones up toward the ceiling, and then back toward that back wall behind you. 1 more breath. Walking, stepping, or hopping the feet to the top of the mat, coming up partway, flatten the back here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms out wide, coming up. Exhale, hands going to rest at the chest. And just release the arms. We're going to come into a few more sun salutes here. Some bee salutes in just a minute. But before we do that, if I can talk, grab your strap. And we're going to do a little bit with shoulder opening before we go into those bee salutes, just to make sure that we're nice and ready for that repetitive action of the vinyasa. All right? Especially for those of us practicing full vinyasa. We want to make sure the shoulders are ready. Thank you, Bonnie. I'm glad you're joining us. So here we go. Feet are about hip width apart. Inhale, reach the arms up. And then exhale. Some of us are going to stop at this sort of halfway part here, or halfway place. Others of us might be able to go all the way down. Just make sure that there's no pain there. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, lower down. And just keep that going. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, either stop halfway or go all the way down. And then inhale, coming up. Exhale and lower. Let's do that 3 more times. Keep the knees bent. That tailbone directing downward, lower abdominal muscles pulling upward and lower. Just 2 more of these. Inhale, back up. And then exhale, lower 1 last time. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, open. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale. And lower down. We're just going to set that strap off to the side for now. So coming back to the top of your mat, and do a little more with sun salute. So if you can come into a closed mountain, do that, because it's going to help you as you come into your chair pose or Utkatasana. So arms are down by our sides. Inhale, reach the arms up into an upright position, and then exhale and start to sink the hips down into your chair pose, Utkatasana. And so for now, the weight is in the heels of the feet, and for a lot of us, we're going to stay right here. But if you want to challenge your balance, see if you can lift your heels away from the mat. Keep your core activated, lifting the heels, lifting the heels. And if the heels are lifted, go ahead and lower them back down. And folding on an exhalation. Inhale up, partway, flatten the back. Exhale and fold. Hands to the mat, stepping or hopping back into plank, shifting forward. You can lower your knees or full chaturanga. Hug the elbows in either way. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog here, your choice. Exhale and lower. Inhale, hands and knees. If you need to add that extra step, that's fine. You guys exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift the weight forward as you set that right foot in. Spin the back heel down, and then find your balance for warrior one. Frontal hip bones and the chest facing forward. We're trying not to lock out through the knees. Big breath in. As the breath flows out, release the clasp of the hands, and then bring the arms behind you and either use a strap, if you can't clasp your hands behind the back, or clasp your hands behind the back and just reach the hands away from the body. Now, if that's not available to you, grab hold of the strap and get the hands as close as you can on that strap, and then lift it away from the body. Big breath in. As the breath flows out, release that clasp. Hands come down to the mat. Spin on the ball. The back foot as we step back into plank. Shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Same thing other side. So when you're ready, inhale, step the left foot forward. Spin the back heel down. Get your balance. And then when you feel like you have that foundation, reach your arms up. You could have the hands together, or you could have just an upward salute with the arms at the shoulder width. It's whatever feels best to you. Frontal hip bones, chest facing forward. Big breath. As you exhale, opposite clasp of the hands, or use that strap. And then again, see if you can extend the arms and start reaching the hands away from the body. Squeezing the shoulders in towards one another, getting that nice opening stretch through the chest. And then release. Hands to the mat, spin on the ball of the back foot. Shift the weight forward as you step in, coming up partway, flatten the back, inhale. Exhale, folding. Inhale, sweep the arms up as you lower the hips down. Back to Utkatasana. Maybe see if the heels want to lift as we challenge the balance. On the next in breath, lowering the heels, extended mountain. Exhale, float the arms down. And just pausing here for a moment. We're going to do that essentially one more time before we start coming back down to the mat for some more restorative, kind of restful, reparative yoga. So here we go. One last challenge for us. Feet are in that closed mountain if we can muster that. Arms are down by our sides. Inhale, extend the arms up. Exhale. Powerful pose. This is often called chair pose. Utkatasana. We can keep the heels on the ground, the weight in the heels, or we can start to shift the weight like we've been doing into the balls of the feet, lifting the heels, squeezing the inner legs in toward one another to help keep that lift. Big breath in. Exhale, lowering the heels and folding. Uttanasana. Inhale up partway, flat back. Exhale into your fold, and then step or hop back into plank pose, shifting forward, and either lowering the knees or full chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, three-legged dog. Right leg steps forward. And just like before, spinning the back heel down, briefly coming in to our warrior one. So we're going to come onto the ball of the back foot and start kind of folding at the diagonal over this right thigh bone, and then step that back foot in and see if you can start shifting the weight into your front leg, into that right leg, reaching the left leg up behind you. Warrior three. Big breath in. As the breath flows out, start bending this front knee so that you can set your back foot down. That back heel is spun down again, and we clasp the hands just like we were doing before. Extend the arms out. A lot of us are going to stay up right here, but some of us might be able to come into that silver surfer fold on the inside of that right knee. Stay upright if this is not available to you. One more breath. wherever you are. And then inhale, coming back upright. Release the hands. Hands come down to the mat. Spin on the ball of the back foot, stepping back into plank. Inhale, shift forward. Remember, if you need to exhale, lower the knees and come into sort of baby chaturanga, you can. Inhale, same thing. If you want to just practice cobra, you can. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, take that extra step if you need to. Come into the hands and the knees. And then pressing into downward facing dog. Three-legged dog. Inhale, left leg reaches high. Exhale, step it through. Spin the back heel down. Find your balance. Inhale, warrior one, briefly. Now, start kind of folding out that diagonal over the left thigh bone. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Step that back foot in. Now, some folks balance better with their arms out in front of them. For me, it's easier to balance with my arms out or by my sides, kind of reaching back behind me. Some people do an airplane here with the arms. Do whatever works best for you. Core stays activated. Start to bend this front knee. And as we exhale, place that back foot down. The back heel is spun down. And then we come into the opposite clasp and reach the arms away from the body. We stay right here, or maybe we're able to come into that silver surfer fold. Again, see what's available. If you are folding, you're on the inside of that left thigh, left knee, left lower leg. Inhale, coming back upright. Exhale, release the clasp of the hands. Hands come down to the mat as we spin onto the ball of the back foot. Last vinyasa, you guys, stepping back plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, either lower the knees or chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breath here. Big, full ujjayi breath. And one more. And then lower the knees to the mat. We're going to come into a sitting position, and we're actually going to come into our boat pose, our boat series, Navasana. All right, so bring your legs or your feet, your legs and your feet out in front of you. Just going to do a little bit here to come a bit closer, so excuse my adjusting. This will make it a little easier to see.